Boy, could this get interesting. Draymond Green reportedly has his eyes set on a max extension with the Golden State Warriors that he can sign starting August 3rd. Draymond's eligible for a 4-year extension, and according to Anthony Slater and Marcus Thompson II of The Athletic, Draymond wants it. Apparently, the Warriors don't want to give it to him. Their conversations have reportedly stalled. Green has a $27.5 million player option, which he can exercise next year. But only time will tell. If you're asking me, it would be in Draymond's best interest to try to get one more big-time deal as quickly as he can. So my assumption is he won't opt into that player option next year. He'll try to go ahead and hit the market as quickly as possible, no matter what happens to the Golden State Warriors next year. In theory, you think they still be off this high of getting back to the NBA Finals and winning the championship. Let alone if they win it again next year, you definitely got to opt out and go get the bag while your name is hot, assuming Draymond is a big contributor to the Golden State Warriors team next year. Draymond's going to opt out and try to go get that bag. And apparently that bag for him is a max extension, what he believes, and apparently the Warriors don't think that right now. This one could get really interesting because as smart and high IQ Draymond Green has on the court, the reality is he's probably as difficult a player it is in the NBA to quantify his real value on the court. Offensively, he pretty much gives you nothing at all from a scoring standpoint. Incredible playmaker. Clear as day, a guy that knows exactly where to get Steph the basketball at, exactly where to get Klay the basketball at. I think we're going to see a lot more of that next year. But if you look out down the pipeline of some of these young Golden State Warriors, the Jonathan Kuminga that the Warriors astutely drafted, you look at a guy like James Wiseman, who you think should be motivated and ready to play next year, missing this entire season. In theory, you think Draymond will be a little bit expendable. I don't know if that is what the Warriors going to do. Keep in mind, they're out there by Silicon Valley. I mean, they're just printing money out there. It seems like whoever they want to sign, they figure it out. But this one could get really interesting if the Warriors put their foot down and say, Dre, you be averaging like 8-9 points a game, bro. We're not giving you a max extension. Again, it just comes down to, can the Warriors find a suitable replacement for Draymond Green? And also, is Draymond bluffing? Like, what's the market like for Draymond Green? I believe there's got to be a middle ground contract somewhere around $32 million for Draymond Green. I don't believe it's $40-50 million. I'm not giving Draymond $40-50 million. I'll find somebody else to replace him before I give him $40-50 million. I hope he understands that I don't believe his value is as high on the open market as he might think if he's not attached to Steph Curry or Klay Thompson. I don't believe Draymond's value is at $40-50. I don't think any team's giving him that. But I do believe for the Golden State Warriors, his value is closer to $30 million. And again, he's a guy that doesn't do a lot of scoring, but he makes a lot of high IQ plays, hustles hard. Defensively, he can still help a team get timely stops. Now, he's not the lockdown defender I believed him to be about 3 years ago towards the end of the Warriors' run there in around 19, but he's still pretty darn good. And once he focuses and locks in, he makes plays defensively. He knows how to help put his young guys in spots. So it is going to be tough for the Warriors to say no to Draymond. But I'll throw this caveat out to you before we end this video. And people are going to be like, what the heck is he talking about? Don't rule out the Golden State Warriors if they can't reach a deal with Draymond, and if they don't re-up on Andrew Wiggins here in the upcoming days and let his contract play out until next summer. Don't rule out the Golden State Warriors going and getting LeBron James. Again, I know that sounds ridiculous today, but about 7-8 years ago, if I would have told you Kevin Durant's going to become a Golden State Warrior, you would have called it ridiculous. Paul George and Kawhi Leonard are going to be Los Angeles Clippers. You would have called it ridiculous. James Harden, in about a calendar year, ending up on the Brooklyn Nets with Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving. It doesn't work out. He ends up with Philadelphia. You would have called it ridiculous. The NBA is the gift that keeps on giving. Anything is possible in my Kevin Garnett voice. LeBron James has been on the record of saying that of the remaining 4 teams during the conference finals this year, he would have liked to be a part of the Golden State Warriors organization. He's said it many times he wants to play with Steph Curry. I'm telling you guys, if LeBron were to leave Los Angeles, which keep in mind, LeBron's contract is up after this year. We'll see what he does in the next couple of weeks. If LeBron decides to play this year out and he can't convince wifey Savannah to go back to Cleveland or go to Oklahoma City so Bronny can play with him. If he can't convince wifey to go to Dallas so Bronny can play with him in Texas for the Rockets or the Mavs. If it's, yo, baby, I'm tired of you moving around. All right, we already darn near a billionaire. What are you doing? I'll move around in California, but that's it. What better place than Golden State? It seems like Steve Kerr and LeBron would get along really well. Steph and LeBron, literally, there's no better combination of guys that games literally play off of each other. I'm telling y'all, do not rule this out. It might sound crazy today, but I'm not so sure it's going to sound crazy in a year's time. If LeBron doesn't re-sign and the Warriors are looking around and Draymond's asking for $40, $50 million and around that same price point, maybe even a little less, depending on where LeBron's at in his mind, LeBron is saying, well, if you don't want Wiggins and Draymond, I'll take about $35 million for a year or two. Can I bring my son to in about 2-3 years if he's good enough? I'm telling you, man, this seems crazy today. It might not sound crazy tomorrow. Draymond Green is reportedly looking for a max extension from the Golden State Warriors. The Warriors apparently don't want to do that type of deal. And your boy FERRO believes that there's a small window for LeBron James could take some of that Andrew Wiggins and Draymond Green money in a year and join the Golden State Warriors. What a crazy storyline that would be.